Welcome back, Shalloners. Well, I couldn't just leave you guys hanging and not do a video on Jordyn Woods' Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett Smith, where Jordyn comes clean about her non-affair with Tristan Thompson, aka Khloe Kardashian, aka Jordyn's friend's baby daddy. Like, you know, I had to break this down. And there were like so many different angles I was thinking about taking. So I kind of narrowed it down to two. So in this video, we're going to talk about how to spot a liar, because Jordyn's a pretty good example. And like, not just how to spot a liar, but how to hear a liar. And I want you guys, I wrote down some things that Jordyn had said because I realized that I hear that when I fight with someone who is lying or cheating or both. Usually it's both. And we all need to be aware of these like speech patterns and these angles, you know, these sort of like persuasive attacks that liars do and con men do, so that we can be aware of it and we can like come up with methods and defenses against them. I also want to touch on a question that like was sparked by something that Jordyn said. Like she said at the very beginning of the interview, she's like, you know, I know I shouldn't be hanging out with my friend's ex. And I was like, that's funny. I didn't know Khloe and Tristan had already broken up. I mean, who knows? But just that made me think like, is it ever okay to date your friend's ex? That could be a whole separate video. And if you guys want a whole separate one, I will. But first, just want to let you guys know that if you have a private question for me and you want to get in touch, I am happy to chitty chat all day. Find me on the Instant Go app. My username is ShallonXO, and click chat to be connected and we'll talk. I'm talking to like 10 of you guys right now. It's great. I don't need to ever leave my house and put on pants to socialize. I can just stay here. So, okay, Jordyn, I'm going to say up front, I think she was lying. I think she was lying. I think she was lying by omission. I think everything she said happened did, but there was a lot of shit that she just conveniently left out. I mean, there's no way that all of this got started because, okay, so what she said happened, if you guys didn't see it, she sat down with Jada and Jada went through this whole big fucking song and dance, how she's known Jordyn since she was a baby, which I also think is very telling. That Jordyn could have talked to any outlet on planet Earth would have loved to have the story, would have paid a lot of money to have the story. But where does she go? She goes to a soft touch. She goes to someone who already is in her corner, right? And I've said in other videos, in my video on how to spot a psychopath, like, you know, love lessons and just life lessons from the Fire Festival fiasco, that the number one thing a sociopath wants, not a psychopath, they're different, but a sociopath wants is pity. Pity is very useful. That soft touch. Like, ooh, because think about it. When was the last time you called someone in a wheelchair an asshole? Probably never. Even if they are. I'm sure a lot of people who are in wheelchairs are assholes. A lot of people who are standing are assholes. It's a per capita thing. But you probably aren't like, you're a fucking asshole, like, because you feel sorry for them. And that lets people get away with a lot of things. You know, if you're in a wheelchair, don't be an asshole, because you know no one's going to call you on it. I won't. And I'm not saying Jordyn's a sociopath. I don't think she is. But all of us employ pity when we're in a jam. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm late to work. There was this family of ducklings and they were crossing the road and I had to get out and then I almost got hit. You know, it's like we spin a yarn. Oh, I can't come in. I'm sick. Oh, I don't feel good. My heart's broken. Something. Because it's very useful. People respond well to that, especially people who already like us or love us. So it's very telling to me that Jordyn chose to go to Jada. She wanted a cushy environment. And I'm reminded of how Jussie Smollett, when he went on Good Morning America to sing his, the New York Post had a headline, MAGA he wrote instead of murder. She wrote, it killed me. To sing his weird song of fake hate crime, who did he ask for? Robin Roberts, right? Another Black gay person who he already had a prior relationship with. He didn't ask for like Savannah Guthrie or like bring back Matt Lauer. No, he went where it was a target audience who was going to believe him, you know? Very interesting. So Jordyn on this thing, she said, you know, first of all, she seemed fucking Ativan out. Like that face did not move. And there were times when Jada was doing her introduction, she's like, you know, a family feels really betrayed by what you've done. And even I was like, you know, I felt that. And I was like, oh, and Jordyn, she did not move. It was like, and maybe maybe she is kind of a sociopath. Maybe all of these tears are just crocodile tears. Maybe she's on a shit ton of like downers to sort of like level her baseline out. I don't know, but she's always kind of come across that way to me, just like this face unclouded by thought. That's why I don't like her as a model, because there's like nothing behind those eyes. It's like, do you have a personality? What can I connect with? So Jada, gave this whole backstory, baby pictures, and Will Smith video chatted in, Jordyn, I'm here for you. Like, cool. And then Jordyn said that they were all out at a house party. I'm sorry, a bunch of her friends were out at the bars in LA. Tristan was there doing his thing. And then she said the way it works in LA, and this is true, the bars close at like midnight, and everyone goes to an after party. Side note, I was just telling my friend today, like back when I was like 23 and was new to New York and doing a lot of cocaine, I went out to LA to see one of my friends. I was blown away, literally, that's pun intended, by how much blow people were doing out there. It was like quadruple anything I'd seen in New York, because people leave the bars and they go to a house party and they stay up blowing coke for like 6 hours. So when Jordyn's like, yeah, we were all up, I left at 6, bitch, you weren't just drinking. Who among us can drink from like 9 p.m. to 6 a.m.? I don't care if you're 21. I don't care if you're 15. Like, that's not how the body works, okay? So she was, first of all, that's a lie by omission. She wasn't just drinking. Like, you were doing drugs. Fine, I don't fucking care. What am I, the DEA? But like, again, there's a lot of things that are left out of the story. Not that I necessarily believe someone's going to go on TV and be like, so I was like knee deep in 3 8-balls, Probably not. So she says, it's very normal. Everyone goes back to someone's house and someone's like, oh, we're going to Tristan. She's like, okay, that's cool. That seems like a safer environment. Again, bing, bing, pity. Oh yeah. Like, let me tap in as a woman to my feeling of like being vulnerable and having a safety issue, So now that's Jordyn trying to get me on her side. Oh yeah, of course I understand why she went there. It's safer. Okay, if you chronically feel unsafe going to these house parties, why do you keep going? Like, that's weird. That rang weird and manipulative to me. So she thought, well, it's safer to go to Tristan's. I also had a red flag that I'm like, wait, Tristan and Khloe don't live together? And if I was truly Khloe's friend, if this was like my best friend's baby daddy, or like my good friend in my circle of friends, her baby daddy, and it's like, oh, everyone's going back to his house for a fucking coke and skanks party, I'd be like, hey friend, guess what's going on here? You want me to live text you this entire night? Because I will. I'll put my phone up in a corner and just live stream it. Like, I wouldn't be like, okay, that sounds cool. That would be weird to me. Tristan is like a grown man. He's a dad of 2. Jordyn's 21. Great. Go do all the coke you can handle. I don't care. But like that, and he's also a professional athlete who's in season, right? I've dated a lot of athletes. They don't do this shit during the season. Like, they just don't. Like, you don't. It's like bed by 10 p.m., So there's just so many red flags. He's just like a trash person in general. So I don't believe people only make bad decisions in one category of their life. Typically when they're fucking around, they're fucking like around like all the different points. So right there, Jordyn started off bad. She said they go to the house, everyone's like talking, laughing, just drinking, partying. And apparently there was rumors that she gave him a lap dance. I can't think of anything more awkward than giving someone a lap dance at like a house party with all the lights on. I don't know. So in that sense, she says no, she didn't. And like, I believe her because it's literally just so awkward. I don't want to believe it. Not because I have any faith in her as like a good person. But she said she was like sitting on the couch and like he was here and she was like perched on the arm of the couch. Like, And she's like, if you had walked in, you could reasonably see that you might be able to, it might look like I was sitting on his lap. And Jada's like, but you weren't, right? And she's like, no, but my feet were draped across his legs. And Jada's like, what? I'm sorry, what'd you say? She's like, yeah, yeah. So she had basically draped her legs over his, which again, just like picture someone doing this to your ex-boyfriend, your friend doing this to your ex-boyfriend. You would already have burst into flames, like inappropriate. And again, she's young, but she's not dumb. Maybe she is, but like, no one's that dumb. I don't care if you're 15. You know that that's not what you do to your friend's man. It just isn't. And it's not an alcohol-based thing because like I've said in other videos and like we all know to be true, you don't do something drunk that you would never, ever, ever do sober. That's completely out of your wheelhouse sober. Like I said, like I'm not like a naked person. I don't like to get naked. I don't trot around naked. I'm not like a topless beach kind of girl. I'm just not. And so you can get me as drunk as you want. And it's happened. People are like, let's take our tops off. We're going to go streaking. And I'm just like, no, I'm good. Like, it's just not my thing. So it's not really in my purview. So for Jordyn to try to blame any of this on alcohol is horseshit. You know, there was something in the seed of her mind that had been planted and it was blooming. But we'll get to that later. So she said she was sitting there, blah, blah, blah. Now the rest of this story is just very like glossed over. What happens between like 1 a.m. and 6 a.m. is very hazy, very Jordyn, you know, pro Jordyn, very Jordyn apologist. And cut to, you know, it's 6 or 7 in the morning, her Uber's here, and Tristan kisses her goodbye. And Jada's like, what kind of kiss? Are we talking Frenching? Like she was like trying to get to the root. She's like, it's like a grandma goodbye kiss. It's a kiss on the lips. Is there tongue? Jordyn's like, no tongue, but like he did kiss me. He kissed me goodbye. And she's like, I know, I can see how this just looked bad. Like I was leaving then and I shouldn't have. And so throughout this whole thing, she was peppering in just enough responsibility for herself that again, it's manipulation because you think, oh, this person's copping to something. Here, this is a gateway to larger truths. This is a huge manipulation tool of a liar and a con man. You know, this is what people do when they're in trouble. It's like a tactic that they teach, you know? And so where it's like, I acknowledge that I shouldn't have gone to that house party. I take responsibility for that. But then she's not detailing what happened between 1 and 6 a.m. What do you think happened at a house party where everyone's drunk, coked out, with like the biggest man whore on the planet? What do we think happened? I don't know. This is the part where we have to realize that celebrities aren't really very different than us. I mean, in the industry I work in, I've been to a lot of celebrity parties, been to house parties, been to after parties, and like they do at parties what every other group of people does. They get drunk and they hook up. Someone's usually crying. Someone's usually throwing up. Someone's fighting and someone's fucking. Like there's really only so many things you do when you go out. Like someone's eating, of course, you know, like it's me. I'm in the Cheetos, you know, so that's pretty, like, what do you think happened? And she didn't give a name to any of her behavior. So I think we can reasonably assume that you don't name something because you don't want to name it. If she was like, and I was up playing Yahtzee with so-and-so for 4.5 hours. She didn't say she fell asleep. It was all just very hazy. And I don't understand why you would do an interview if you're not going to tell the truth. Just shut up. Just stay home. So that's her whole thesis statement. And she's like, I'll do whatever Khloe wants me to do to like, you know, make her feel okay. It's not about me and my career. It's about Khloe. What can I do to make her? She doesn't deserve this. You know what? Actually, Jordyn, like at this point, she kind of might. As I said before, I mean, no one deserves to get cheated on, but like at some point, Khloe has to be like, the writing is on the wall with this relationship. This man has shown me who he is. I have to lay down my latent, deep-seated desperation and need to be defined by a relationship and who I'm dating and do better. And just fucking do better. So I wrote down some things that I noticed in this video, some phrases Jordyn said that were like, to me, like huge red flag phrases. And I want you guys to keep your ears open when you're arguing with someone or you think someone's lying to you. Like if a guy is not giving you the whole story, listen for these phrases or something within this ballpark, all right? So one of the things she said was a version of everyone's doing it. When Jade is like, okay, what was this house party like? And she's like, you know, we were all just dancing around and just like talking. And Jade was like, were you guys like talking close in each other's ear, laughing, do. She's like, you know, we all were. Huge thing. Everyone's doing it. Is this not exactly the first defense when someone's looking to excuse bad behavior? Mom, everyone's listening to that. You know, it's a bandwagoning thing. Bandwagoning is a very powerful advertisement tool. It's like, join the club. You don't want to be left behind. We're pack animals. So to say like everyone's doing it is appeals to our pack animal sensibility, and we're more likely to excuse it, right? But again, she didn't really answer the question. She didn't say, no, I absolutely wasn't doing that with Tristan. She's like, we were all just kind of talking. It's like, all right, okay, weird. She also used the phrase, in my world. So that to me undercuts what she just said. Everyone's doing it. Everyone behaves this way. And then she shifts, she's like, but in my world, there's a separate set of rules. In my world, it's not unusual to stay at a party until 6 a.m. That's because you're doing drugs, or you're fucking a guy all night long, or you're doing drugs and fucking him. Like, and so for her to say in my world, that puts a distance between reality and responsibility and her. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but in my world, the rules are different. So I don't have to adhere to your rules of fidelity and conduct and decorum. I get to live in my own universe. So if a guy is lying to you and he's like, but babe, at our office, that's normal. Like, that's what everyone does. We just have strip club lunch. No, you don't get to make up completely new rules to escape consequences in the one you currently live in, right? I'm sorry, all I'm doing is like drinking LaCroix lately. I really hope these aren't like bad for you. Is there going to, like, in 30 years, going to be like LaCroix mouth, sweeping the nation's old millennials. So another thing she said that was interesting is like, he kissed me. Once again, lack of responsibility. And she thinks that she's winning all these like honesty brownie points, being like, he kissed me. She didn't say we kissed, he kissed me, I kissed him back. We shared a kiss, he leaned in and then we were kissing. It was, he kissed me. Before she did this interview, I actually was sort of wondering if she would default to the old, I don't know, maybe someone drugged my drink thing. Like, she's in enough hot water and her career is on the line so bad that like I could kind of see her playing that card, you know? Oh, and another thing that caught my eye was she was saying that she went to this party to try to protect Khloe. That is victim blaming, you know? It's so infuriating. Like, you didn't go there to protect that woman because you didn't tell her you were there. So what exactly were you doing? Standing outside his door with like a sword and a shield? Like, what were you doing that was so paramount? You were just such a gatekeeper for your friend. It's a lie, you know? And you're victim blaming. And again, you're looking for that pity because it's a tool of manipulation. So again, if someone is doing this in your life, and if you're in this situation, look at how someone is flipping it and making either you or somebody else the victim. It's like, babe, you know, I was talking to your friend because you said you didn't want to. So like, I was helping you by talking to Kristen all night. Like, sorry, my hands ended up down her pants. Jeez. Another thing she said, there was no malicious intent. This shit makes me crazy. I said this before. You can be drunk and get in your car with every intention of getting home safe, getting in your bed, queuing up the office. That's not always how it goes. You can hit someone with your car when you're drunk or sober. Your intention doesn't mean shit. So your intention, it's like, I didn't mean to do that. Well, you did, and you're an adult. And when adults choose their behavior, adults choose their consequences. I realized recently that the only difference between a child and an adult is the acknowledgement of consequences. Kids don't understand consequences. I'm going to eat a whole tub of butter for dinner. How could this possibly go wrong? An adult understands that. I'm going to spend all this money on candy. What's the big deal? You know, adults understand that there are consequences. So for her to say there's no malicious intent, that's a lack of taking responsibility. It doesn't have to be intentional. It doesn't even have to be malicious. You know, like, it just has to happen. And sorry, something's wrong with my phone. It doesn't have to be intentional or malicious, but for it to have like very hurtful consequences. And unless you acknowledge that, it's never going to change. And you're just going to keep insulting the other person, because what you're doing there is saying, well, you shouldn't be mad because I didn't mean to hurt you. So you're making me feel bad because I didn't even mean to. Fuck you. Let's see. Oh, I didn't appreciate her playing the race card. You know, like, and they've come after me, a Black woman. I mean, I'm not a Black woman. I certainly can never speak to a Black woman's experience. I know it's a hard one, and I know it's an unfair one. But again, I do think it's very interesting Jordyn chose to tell her tale of woe to another Black woman, because that is when I think Jada was like definitely like not on her side up until that. And when Jordyn said that, Jada's like, oh, yes, it is. We are out here. And everything Jada said was right. She's like, we are the easiest group to blame. We are, so often the victims and so often the villains in stories. And it made me mad that Jordyn was preying upon that, because like Jordyn, the other person in this is also Black. So I don't think this is a racial thing. I don't know. If you guys actually, if you're a person of color, I would love to hear like your spin on that. Do you think that there's a reason, do you think Jordyn is taking this worse, getting, the business end of this because of her race? I think she's getting it because of her gender. We always blame the woman. No one's like beating down Tristan's door, because it plays into the stereotype of like, well, boys will be boys, athletes will be athletes. And so like, that, of course, what do you expect from this guy? But we expected better from Jordyn. And like, that's kind of true. We do expect better from her, because I believe the covenant of friendship I believe it's stronger than the covenant of like dating. Like friends are like sisters. So when you do this, it's like so awful. Like you trust your friends more than you trust your man sometimes, And certainly they might know more about you. They know the depths of your hurt because they feel it too, because they're going through the same thing. Another card Jordyn played that I didn't like was, the media has just chosen to spin it. The media is not, no. Jordyn, you did this. You did this. You did this. Okay. So again, this is blaming, and this is distancing herself from everything, all the responsibility. So how this translates in your life, because maybe your boyfriend isn't being hounded by the media, what he might say is like, all your friends hate me and they're just like gassing you up about this. And I know that they're just like in your ear and blah, 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 blah. That is victim blaming. And that's also gaslighting. It's making you feel crazy and stupid for feeling the way you feel. And it's making you feel ashamed for getting support and validation for those emotions. He wants you to separate from people who are saying, you know what? You're onto something, sister. This is a bad situation. He doesn't want that input. No, he wants to control the message. Jordyn wants to control the message. She doesn't want the press like putting a spin on things, digging up more information. That's what the press does, sweetheart. Go work for Trump's White House if you don't like it. I don't know what to tell you. Then she'll say stuff like, this is private. This should have been dealt with privately. Who gets to deal with things privately? Regular people. Me, you, everyone watching this video. I don't know how I'm going to like save for retirement. Like I have those kind of issues, but I don't have the issue of infidelity or a fight with my friend being played out on the public stage. Like celebrities can't have it all. And it makes me insane when they act like this. Like you want all the good parts of being a celebrity, but none of the downside. So you want to act like a typical civilian asshole and like, no, you don't understand why it has celebrity level consequences. You better read the celebrity handbook because you are behind. So again, like how this plays into your real life. Like I said before, a guy wants, it's like, we got to keep this private. Don't tell your friend. Don't tell your mom, because he doesn't want those opinions out there. Jordyn certainly doesn't want to be roasted by people on Twitter. And to be fair, people are flaming her out. Someone said they think it's like she deserved to have her dad die. That's awful. That's awful. Who would say that? Who cares enough about any of these people to say something like that? However, I do think it's interesting that she brought up her father dying. She said, my father died at such a critical time in my life, and I'm trying to figure out my way through this world. I get it. My father died when I was 22, very unexpectedly, very traumatically. It was awful. I have never used that as an excuse to fuck my friend's boyfriend. I haven't, because they don't relate at all. They don't. By the time you're 8 years old, it might even be 5, right from wrong. Certainly at 21, not to sleep with your friend's baby daddy. I don't think your dad was going to have any alternate point of view on that. I don't think there was any other data points he was going to add to that argument. You're an adult. Like you want to live an adult life. You want to be a celebrity and have a business and be a model. You have forfeited the folly of childhood, and as we all do. Like when we go off to college, we're going to drive around a car and like do this and have an internship and go to parties and drink and blow a bunch of coke. Like, okay, we can't be like, I'm just a kid, I don't know. Even though at times it feels like that. And I get that, like, you know, it's easy for me to say this now. I'm like over 30 and I've learned a lot of these lessons, but that's the thing. I've learned them. And you learn them. You don't just experience them. Jordyn is experiencing a lesson. I don't know that she's learning a lesson. You learn a lesson by taking responsibility for it, because you can't change what you don't acknowledge. And Jordyn doesn't seem to be like acknowledging this. I mean, maybe she is privately, hopefully, but publicly, I don't hear a lot of like introspection or self-awareness. I hear a lot of platitudes and manipulation. Just enough like I was wrong to get people on her side, but not enough transparency to be like, she's learned from this and she is really sorry. Like her face just didn't move. It just didn't. And 98% of communication is nonverbal. Did you know that? So, I mean, think about it this way. If I was like, yeah, go ahead. That's a different message than go ahead. Two very different things I'm communicating. And I really expected to see a lot of nonverbal cues with her that she was lying. People like, they suck their lips in, you know, they cover their face. It's all about shrinking. It's like, what can they do to shrink back? Because people don't like to lie. Sociopaths and psychopaths have no problem lying and that's why they pass lie detector tests. You know, they're like, sure, hook me up, which she did say multiple times. So like, they're very good liars because there's no conscience that's like that obstacle in their mind. But for normal people, we don't like to lie. It creates this cognitive dissonance, and that's a very difficult thing for the psyche. So we'll do things like, guys especially do this. They rub their neck like, oh, you know, that's a very bad gesture. They put their hands in their pockets, not good. They scrunch up. You know, it's all just like, you just want to hide like a little turtle from the untruths that you're telling. She didn't do any of that. I mean, nothing. She didn't like scrunch her eyes. She didn't pull her lips. Like I said, like Jada was saying things that made me like, oh, like kind of cringe. Not a blip from Jordyn. That's very, very interesting. Very interesting. I would be very careful if I were the Kardashians about letting this person back into your life. And so, yeah, overall, I see a lot of victimization talk, pity, blaming the victim, low-key gaslighting, manipulation, and I don't hear a lot of self-awareness. What do you guys think? I want to know. But real quick, let's touch on whether or not, you know, it's okay to date your friend's ex. And like I said, I think I probably will do another video on this, but it's tricky with girls because like we are so close, and when we have a friend, usually we're so much like them, you know, especially when we're young and we're really needing that social validation, those social norms. Like as you get older, like when I was younger, I would go out to the bars with my friends and we were basically all dressed exactly the same. We did our hair the same kind of purse, everything. And now when I'm older, I call my friends to make sure we're not wearing the same thing. It's like I'm more comfortable being an individual. I don't want to blend in as much, you know, but that could just be me. So it stands to reason that you're probably going to be a lot like your best friend. And you're probably going to have the same kind of qualities you want in a dude. Probably going to be attracted to the same kind of guy that she is. So it's natural in a way to start crushing on your friend's ex or current boyfriend. You can't date them though. Believe me, I have been in this situation. I have been in this situation like several times, and I'm such like a man eater that when I see a guy I want, I will roll over anyone to get to him. And I have to like stop myself from doing that because it's not appropriate sometimes. And I have to actively choose my friendships over a guy that I really want to catch and kill, you know? But you have to, because at the end of the day, he's probably gonna leave you. You know, like, I mean, look at this logically. Either what, you get married or you break up. Chances are this is probably not a marriage level relationship. You know what I mean? So when you guys break up, you're going to have no man and no best friend because she does not deserve to give you a second chance. That is like the covenant of friendship you simply cannot break. You can't talk shit about your friend's family, and you can't date her ex or her current. Like you don't do it. Don't do it. And if you do, you have made an egregious choice and there's no going back from that. There really isn't. There's no coming back after you guys break up. Like, I'm sorry. Like, she has every right to cut you out of her life. It sucks. I know. Because like I said, it stands to reason we would like people that our friends like. But you know I'm all about letting you guys have what you want. But this is just simply a dead end. I want to hear what you guys have to say about Jordyn and Tristan. Do you think Jordyn is getting the brunt of this and Tristan is getting off easy? What do you think about Khloe's tweet, hello, that she's like, you're the reason our family broke up? Like, it was just so, Khloe, I don't even know what to say about her anymore at this point. Like, she's such the co-architect of her own misfortune. Like, the fact that after all this, it doesn't seem like any blame is going towards Tristan. And you know what? I'm sure on some level, Khloe is like, hey, I can make other friends. I got one baby daddy. You know, you cut out the things that are the most elastic. And her relationship with Tristan is inelastic. There's only one of him. I gotta say, there's a whole damn world full of Jordyn's. And unfortunately for Khloe, she's probably gonna have to learn the hard way. There's a whole world full of Tristans too. For more, click like and subscribe and leave your comments in the comment section, obviously, and tell me what you think, what you want to hear more of, less of. I want to know. And like I said, if you want to talk privately, find me on the Instant Go app at ShallonXO and follow me on social media at ShallonXO on Insta, Twitter, and Snapchat.